We all know it's important to stay in good physical shape, so every year we get a checkup with the doctor to make sure we're on track. But what about our finances? If you're looking to retire, it's incredibly important to have those in good shape too. That's where Phyllis Sachs-Pilvinus comes in. She's been guiding her clients to and through retirement for over 30 years, making sure their retirement accounts are prepared to go the distance. It's time to retire financially fit with Phyllis. Here's your host, Jen Rizek.
With millions of people retiring earlier than expected, concerns about health coverage in the future, and more people unsure if they've saved enough, we're seeing more people feeling financially vulnerable. So how do you make sure you're prepared to weather the storm in retirement? Well, the good news is Phyllis Sachs-Pilvinus is here to help you do just that. Thanks so much for joining us this morning on Retire Financially Fit with Phyllis. And Phyllis, I know we have a ton that we want to get to today about being financially fit, what it means to have an income plan, and what your Retire Fit analysis is all about. But before we do that, we just want to pause and take a few moments to reflect because this weekend, as everyone knows, is the 20th anniversary of the September 11th, 2001 terrorist attacks on New York and on Washington, D.C. And it's just, Phyllis, it's hard to believe that that was 20 years ago. And I just want to play something for you and get your reaction here because I think everybody remembers this as well, which is a couple days after 9/11 when President George W. Bush was at Ground Zero addressing emergency responders on a bullhorn, and he had such a message that I want to play.
I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you. And the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
Oh, man. Can you believe it's been 20 years?
20 years. Wow. Yeah. It's important to take pause and to remember all of those lives that were lost. Yeah. Hopefully not in vain. And at the same time, that message does say this, what an inspiring message at a bad time with everything going on then, everything going on today. We still do live in a great country.
We do. And, you know, I think for me, one of the things that, as we reflect back on, everybody remembers where they were that day. We all remember that. And we all know what that was like to have everything change in an instant. And I don't say this to capitalize on anything that happened. There was so much loss back then, 20 years ago, so many lives lost. But to me, it speaks to the importance of why you do what you do, because everything can change so fast. Our world just got turned upside down in the blink of an eye. And this is why you talk about the things that you talk about each and every week.
You better believe it. In a blink of an eye, life can change. So yeah, I hate to say it, but really what our practice is all about, plan for the worst, but really hope for the best.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about too. We have to hope for the best, but again, you know, and heaven forbid anything like this ever happens again. But my gosh, this is why you are passionate about doing what you do, is knowing, because Phyllis, aside from, of course, the devastating human loss and the tragedy that went with that day 20 years ago, we also saw what happened with our economy in the months afterwards and all of the ripple effects that happened. And it was just such a monumental loss in so many ways. And heaven forbid anything like that were to happen again. But again, this is why we talk about why it's important to have a financial plan and know what's going on with your future and have emergency plans and all of these things. It's just something that we can't forget in these moments.
And Jen, I can't stress it enough that once you've done the heavy lifting, I mean, when you're in the first stage and you're working and accumulating money and you have time on your side, if bad things happen, you've got the time on your side and the energy to kind of, you know, rebuild, do it again. And it's hard and nobody likes it, but you have more opportunity to do that. When you're retired, what you've got is what you've got. And it is absolutely, in my humble opinion, imperative after you've done all the years of saving and you've saved enough, more than likely, to have a great retirement, to make sure that you've planned accordingly. So if bad things happen, you're insulated, at least financially, and your life can go on as well as it possibly can. And that's really within your power to make sure you understand that everything, all the rules, all the things you've done through the accumulation phase, they change as you start transitioning into retirement. And if you're going to get to and through retirement successfully, it takes a retirement plan that's structured, plans for the worst, hopes for the best. And, that's exactly why I wrote the book, Creating Calm Amidst the Storm. Lots of storms are going to happen. They may happen, like the 9/11 to our whole country at one time. They may happen to you personally. But if you have a proactive plan in place, no crisis planning, regardless of what happens financially, you can have calm amidst that storm. That's what I believe with every fiber of my being. That's what we do every day. It starts with our Retire Fit analysis. And what that's really about is it's kind of an awakening. Have you considered all the things that you need to consider to have a successful retirement? What do you want retirement to look like? Where are you in that continuum? Are you off in any one of these areas? And if so, where's the backup? How can you see that so you can understand it, and how can you make changes? So I really, Jen, that was very powerful what you said about how important it is to have that plan, because how much upheaval occurred with 9/11, and we saw it again, with, COVID all over again. I really encourage anybody who's close to retirement, or even if you're in retirement, to make sure that you have that proactive plan, because you won't get a do-over. And that's why we encourage you to pick up the phone and call us for your Retire Fit analysis. We'll take you through all the steps to see where you are in relationship to where you want to be and need to be to have a successful retirement that you've already worked hard to create. So in order to do that, pick up the phone and call us at 623-792-5496. Again, 623-792-5496. You can also go to our website, retirewithpsp.com. There's a lot of great information on there that will tell you more about myself and our team and our philosophy. And we look forward to hearing from you. 623-792-5496. No obligation. All it is more education to make sure you're on track. And if there's any gaps, how do we fix them? That's what we do all day, every day.
Right. Again, 623-792-5496. And Phyllis, for people who are, we've been reflecting on where we all were 20 years ago. Here's one thing that I know to be sure. We're all 20 years older than we were.
Thanks a lot, Jen.
I know. Sorry. So we have to be very aware of that as well. For people who are now, back then not getting ready to retire, really in a different place in their career and in their financial world. And now here we are today. People who are getting ready to retire, they are closer to that point in their life. What are some of the big financial risks that we need to be aware of that could be coming out as we get into retirement?
Very good question. One thing is longevity. Okay. A big concern, whether people realize it or not, is they're always worried about, do I have enough money to retire? And how long will my money last? And at the same time, people will say to me, well, I only need my money to last till I'm 85. My family history, they don't live that long. That's bunk. People are living longer. Right. I just sat with my son's future grandma, who's 96 and as spry as can be. People are living longer. So you really have to have a plan that makes sure that you don't outlive your money before you outlive life, if you will. Right. Okay. That's a big concern. And geez, I don't think anybody would argue with me if I said inflation. Inflation never sleeps, and we're all seeing it come back with a vengeance, whether it's today or tomorrow. When you're working, you get raises. How are you going to do that in retirement? It takes a great plan to make sure that you have a plan that gives you raises to keep up with inflation. Stock market, it's been really phenomenal, for a long time now, but markets go up and they go down. Do you have too much volatility in your portfolio if you need it for income in retirement, or you have an emergency and you got to take that out? I mean, how's that going to affect you? How much risk are you taking? Market volatility can be financially devastating, as people learned in 2000, when 9/11 hit and after that.
Yeah.
And, it's devastating. Healthcare costs are escalating exponentially, especially if you need custodial care. If you don't have a plan for that, even, if you've saved quite a bit of money, that could come along and be financially devastating to you. Now, the big one, drum roll, Jen, taxes, taxes.
Oh, yep.
I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. I'm not being political here. With all the money that we're spending, come on. You couldn't run your own household like this. Taxes have got to go up to pay for all this debt. Okay? Yep. And if you don't have a plan, you don't understand your future tax liability, you are going to give way, way, way more than your fair share to Uncle Sam in the form of taxes. If, one of the biggest areas that we're impactful is showing people their future tax liability and then building plans to help them be more tax efficient. I believe in paying my fair share of taxes, but not more. So those are some of the very important risks that you really need to consider.
Right.
And if any of those, you can't check the box on, where your income's coming from, how long your money's going to last, whether you have raises built in or a health care plan or tax plan, you really should be picking up the phone right now and calling us for the Retire Fit analysis. Even if you think you do, let us pressure test it, so to speak. Let us show you exactly where you're at. And if you're in good stead, fantastic. So to get that done, no obligation, no cost other than your time. And I'm funny. We'll have a good time anyway, right? Pick up the phone and call us at 623-792-5496. And let's be proactive together, not reactive when the crisis hits. Let's have calm amidst that storm. 623-792-5496.
This is Retire Financially Fit with Phyllis. We'll be back.
If you owed almost $28 trillion and you didn't have the money to pay it off, what would you need to do? Make a lot more money, right? Well, now America's debt is more than $28 trillion, and taxes are at historically low levels. It doesn't take a genius to realize taxes will probably go up. Now, think about your retirement accounts. Do you want to pay taxes on some of that money now, when rates are low, or later, when rates are much higher? Whether you should pay taxes now or in retirement depends on a lot of things. Phyllis Sachs-Pilvinus and the team at PSP & Associates know what to look for. Call 623-792-5496 to set up a visit with Phyllis Sachs-Pilvinus and the team at PSP & Associates. That's 623-792-5496. When taxes go up, will you be ready? Call now, 623-792-5496. Firm offers insurance services and may not give tax advice. Investment advisory services are offered through PSP Financial Services, LLC, an Arizona registered investment advisor.
Thanks for joining us today on Retire Financially Fit with Phyllis. Jen Rezac here alongside Phyllis Sachs-Pilvinus. She is founder and president of PSP & Associates, and she is excited to tell you the truth about what you need to do to get financially fit. And Phyllis, there's a phrase I've heard you say before. You talk about conventional wisdom and how this can be a problem. So tell me what this means. What can happen if we've been following this conventional wisdom when it comes to our retirement money?
Okay, so let's talk about a couple of areas where conventional wisdom can really come back to bite you, so to speak. During the accumulation phase while you're working, it's all about growing your money, and taking risks because it's money for the long term and focusing on how big that pot of money gets. That's conventional wisdom. And it really makes sense to save, grow. You don't need the money for a long time. Well, I see people still focusing on that when they're within, a short period of time before retiring or even in retirement, focusing on, I got to keep that money growing. But the other side of growing is dropping.
Yeah.
And that could be very, very damaging to people if you're following conventional wisdom and just trying to grow it at all costs instead of growing it safely. Your money needs to do different things at the second stage of life, the retirement stage, and not adjusting accordingly and just following that conventional wisdom is dangerous. So it's not just it is about saving it until you get to that point and how much you've saved. But once you get to retirement, you've got to rethink that. And it's about how much income really can you draw off of that, and how can you make it grow safely, not just growth at all costs. That's one area of conventional wisdom that you really got to revisit. How much risk you should take, what's appropriate for you. And I'll tell you, it's going to be different for everybody. I always say, it's my little coin phrase, everybody has their own financial DNA.
Right.
Everybody's circumstances are different. And another bit of conventional wisdom is that people follow, what the neighbor does. So-and-so bought this stock and it's making a lot of money. I need to do that. Or so-and-so has mutual funds or maxes out their 401k or all that stuff. Or they've got, they're making so much money on their money. I got to do that. No, conventional wisdom is different for everybody. You got to have your own conventional wisdom if you want to do that. So when it comes to the market, that's important. And here's another one with Social Security. Conventional wisdom can really hurt you there. There are so many different claiming strategies. And yet, if you follow conventional wisdom, that spit out report that every financial advisor can give you that shows you how you can maximize Social Security benefits. And it either says, you should take it at 62 because, you have to live to, 80 to break even, or you should take it at 70 because you're going to have more money. Well, in a vacuum, that conventional wisdom can really cost you tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Wow.
So that's something you really want to understand, how Social Security works, what the benefit of it is, taking it at different ages, and then looking at your personal circumstances. What's your tax situation? What's your health like? I can go on and on and on. So that's another conventional wisdom thing that you can't be general about. And now you know where I'm going with the next one.
I think I have an idea. Yeah.
Yeah, taxes is the biggest one. Oh, boy. Conventional wisdom has always been that, while you're working, you're going to make more money than you will in retirement. So therefore, you'll be in a higher tax bracket and you'll pay more in taxes. So if you get the opportunity to put away money pre-tax without paying the taxes and pay it later in retirement, you're going to be golden. You're going to be golden. Well, I got to tell you, that ain't working out too great for a lot of people, because what's happened is, let me backtrack. Years ago, when 401ks and IRAs became popular, the idea of saving pre-tax made a lot of sense, because when people retired, they didn't have a lot invested in these accounts, so there wasn't a lot of taxes to pay on those. People did not live as long. None of your Social Security was taxed at that point in time. So maybe it made sense. But if we go forward now, a lot of money can be contributed to these retirement accounts where you've yet to pay the taxes, and they've got lots of years to grow tax deferred. And taxes aren't going down anytime soon with all the debt we have. They're going up. So what people are doing, in essence, are building up this huge tax bomb. And even if your marginal tax rate is less than what it was when you were working, you have so much more to pay taxes on that you're going to pay a lot more than you ever saved in, I would say, over 75, 80, maybe even 90% of the cases that we see. Probably more like 95 if I'm being straight up. So those are some areas where conventional wisdom can really hurt you. And it really comes down to understanding that everything that you do in the first stage of life, which is important to accumulate that money, grow it, be a disciplined saver. Those rules and the tools that you'll use change once that paycheck goes away. And everything should be customized for you in your particular circumstances, your particular goals, and the meaning, what you need your money to do once you get close to retirement, and certainly in retirement, is a lot different than before. So that conventional wisdom needs to be re-engineered, if you will.
Right. And
yep.
And this is why you want people to call you for the Retire Fit analysis. This is a way to make sure that people are financially fit when they retire, that they've protected what they've saved, and they've put together a plan to make sure their money is going to last no matter what happens, and that they are making appropriate decisions for the stage of life that they're in, not following the conventional wisdom that they've heard and followed all of this time up until now. Because now when we get to retirement, we need to start thinking a little bit differently about things like the risk that we are taking with our money and the taxes that we could be having to pay when we start taking money out of those different retirement accounts. There's a lot to be thinking about, and that is what the Retire Fit analysis is all about. 623-792-5496 is the number. That's 623-792-5496. And Phyllis, I want to take a little time here before we run out of time today to answer some mailbag questions. Retirewithpsp.com is the website. That's how you can connect with Phyllis online. But we do have a couple here. I want to start with Lee's question. Lee's in Phoenix and wants to know when you think this market is going to bottom out.
Oh, Lee. What a good question.
Yeah.
The $50 million question.
Yeah.
If only I had a crystal ball. The answer to the question, with all of the printing that's occurred, with all of the stimulus money that's occurred, gosh, I don't know. But I'll tell you this, Lee, if you're close to retirement or if you're in retirement, you can absolutely control the impact that has on you by controlling how much risk you take. So we really don't know when the market's going to drop. Anybody who tells you that, if they've got a better crystal ball than me because mine's broken, please tell them to call me. Let me see it, because I can't answer that with an absolute. I would think that there's going to be a correction sometime soon. Every market corrects. How long? Nobody knows. But I will again say this. If you're close to retirement, regardless of what that happens, if you've got a proactive plan, you really should have calm amidst that storm. It really shouldn't affect you. So, Lee, if you don't know how much risk you're taking, if you don't know what you need your money to do when, boy, pick up the phone and call us. Let's do a risk analysis. Let's go through the Retire Fit analysis, because when the market, not if the market corrects, we don't want you blindsided. And that's what we do every day. We help people build solid plans so that they're protected from the downside. We don't double or triple people's money, but we get them to and through retirement independently and on their own terms by starting with these basics, understanding the risk, because we don't know what the market's going to do when. So the number to call is 623-792-5496. Lee, I'd love to hear from you. No obligation. Let's go through this together and let's make sure you're on track. 623-792-5496.
That's right, Lee. It was a great question, because when you think about the risks that people are accidentally taking with their money right now, with what's going on with the markets, you think about the threat of volatility. You think about looming tax increases in the future. You think about how much healthcare is going to cost. This is why running out of money is still the number one fear for baby boomers, and for good reason, because of all those risks that I just mentioned. And projections right now are showing that among pre-retirees, it's about 40% of households who will run short of money in retirement. We do invite you to take advantage of this opportunity from Phyllis to, again, make sure you won't run out of money. And you might even be able to boost the size of your portfolio when you get the right help. So get started today, 623-792-5496. That's 623 888-792-5496. That's all the time we have on the show today. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in again next time. We'll talk to you then. Investment advisory services are offered through PSP Financial Services, LLC, an Arizona registered investment advisor. PSP Financial Services is an independent financial services firm that helps people create retirement strategies using a variety of insurance and investment products. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to safety, security, or guaranteed lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investment products. Insurance and annuity product guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. PSP Financial Services, LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. You should talk to a qualified professional before making any decisions about your personal situation. We are not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.